जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की गौर प्रेमानंदी समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय समवेत भक्तवृंद की समवेत भक्तवृंद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी। हरे कृष्णा। Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter number 9, entitled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. Text number 32. Yavan aham yatha bhavah yad रूप गुण कर्मकः तथा एव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मत् अनुग्रहात् यावान् अहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुण कर्मकः तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद् अनुग्रहात् यावानहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुण कर्मकः तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद् अनुग्रहात् यावानहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुण कर्मकः तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद् अनुग्रहात् Mataji's word to word meaning. Yavan, as I am in eternal form. Aham, myself. Yatha, as much as. Bhavaha, transcendental existence. Yat, those. Rupa, various forms and colors. Guna, qualities. कर्मकः activities तथा so and so eva certainly tattva vijnanam factual realization astu let it be te unto you mat my anugrahat by causeless mercy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. Purport. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to his pet sons. The father discloses the confidence unto the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know him completely. But one's advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also, it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also it is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone, and he keeps himself concealed from the faithless by his Yoga Maya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals himself in his form, quality and pastimes. The Lord is not formless, as wrongly conceived by the impersonalist, but his form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses his form even to the extent of measurement to his pure devotees. And that is the meaning of Yavan. Yavan. As explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's a big purport. Today we are supposed to read only till this, and from here we'll read tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Om Adnyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So wonderful slok and beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada's each and every purport is beautiful, but still many wonderful points are in this purport. I would like to read the first sentence of the purport itself. Okay, what's the situation in the Bhagavad Katha for those who have not come daily? Brahmaji is confused and he performed tapasya to please the Supreme Lord, and now Supreme Lord is pleased as he is expressing himself. Mad anugrahat. And because he is pleased, Supreme Lord is saying, I am giving you mercy. And you will understand the whole knowledge within yourself. About Supreme Lord means what? About his Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela. Holy name, holy form, divine form, his activities and, Nam, Rupa, Guna, qualities and activities. This is understanding. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada's first sentence is, the secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is causeless mercy of the Lord. So we can understand the knowledge of Supreme Lord, Paratattva, Param Bhagavan, only by his causeless mercy. There is one more sentence in the first paragraph itself, I think. Just 1 minute, I am looking for that. First, just 1 minute. Basically, I am searching for the sentence where. Yeah, this one. In the second paragraph, sentence second. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. So, it's a contradiction here, as Supreme Lord is full of contradictions. Ishopnisha says, he walks, he doesn't walk. Tadayajati, he is very near, very far off. So here, the contradiction is, Supreme Lord's mercy is called as causeless mercy. It has no cause. But here itself, Srila Prabhupada, or in the shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, I will give you causeless mercy because I am pleased with you. So there is a cause. The cause is Lord is pleased. So how can it be causeless mercy? A bit confusing. So is there some cause? Causeless means illogical. It's just like some person who is very rich. He gets some, in Hindi we call it jhatka. He takes around 10-20 bundles of 500 rupees notes and just comes in the public and starts giving to anyone. He doesn't discriminate. Kisko mil raha hai, kisko nahi mil raha hai. Sometimes he may give to some millionaire, Sometimes story, poor person, man, anyone, he just झटका आ गया, 200-400 का बंडल लेके भवंस के नाके पे खड़ा हो गया. He started distributing. Whoever comes, I am giving one note. So something like that can be causeless mercy. Means his jhatka is there, but that's not up to him. He's just not seeing who is there giving. But here Lord is saying, I am giving you causeless mercy because I am pleased with you. And Srila Prabhupada says in the first purport, first line of the purport, that we can know Supreme Lord only by His mercy. Prabhupada says causeless mercy. And Prabhupada says in the next line, not next paragraph, the Supreme Lord's mercy is available only to those who have faith in Supreme Lord and spiritual master. Tasyete yatha guru. So that shloka. So it's very confusing. How is the mercy causeless? If it is causeless, then why one has to have supreme faith in the Supreme Lord? So basically, from a logical point of view, we can say, is there any logic to whom Krishna gives mercy? Okay, like, I am pleased. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Name dveshyosti na priya. Samoham sarva bhuteshu, I am equal to all. No one I envy, no one I am dear. But next line he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu, Name dveshyosti na priya. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, mai te teshu chapyam. So there is a logic. Krishna says that one who worships me with devotion, I reciprocate. So it's not causeless. Cause is that devotee is worshipping. And therefore he is getting the mercy. In another place Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyam. One who worships me, I reciprocate accordingly. So how can it be causeless? But the word uses causeless mercy. So basically, as we many times come to the conclusion, or at least what conclusion I have come to, maybe with my limited understanding, for actually mercy to be causeless, forget whatever we heard, there has to be no guiding principle. Okay, one who surrenders to me, I reciprocate with him, or I am equal to all, or one who has faith in Supreme Lord and Guru, then he can understand. For mercy to be actually causeless, there has to be no guiding principle. As I said, that example of rich man giving out some just random. But we don't see it happening that way. We say there has to be some logic. But then if there is some logic, how can it be causeless? It has a cause. So basically, as you said, we have to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Vedabhed. Supreme Lord gives mercy, like this question, anytime in Ramayana and Mahabharata, does the Ram know that Sita has been kidnapped, or he knew Ravana is going to come? Then if he knew Sita has been kidnapped by Ravana, why he had to go and find out and take help of Sugriva and so many things? So basically, these contradictions can resolve in Supreme Lord. Basically, it's a causeless mercy which has a cause, and how a mercy with a cause can be causeless is beyond our brain to understand. It is a mercy which has a cause, but still is a causeless. But how is that possible? That is not possible for us to understand. How it can happen that way? If mercy has a cause, how can it be causeless? Supreme Lord, therefore the word uses yavan, or even another place Bhagavatam says, as much as the bird can fly in the sky, we can understand, like as much as our capacity goes, we can understand Supreme Lord. So Lord Krishna here, or Sukdev Goswami here, Krishna is speaking to Brahmaji. He is saying, yavan aham yatha bhavo. I will explain to you as much as is you are rich, yavan. Till that that time. Tatha. So, by our tiny brain, to resolve this contradiction is a bit difficult. Is it causeless or it is a cause? It's a causeless, but still it is a cause of we surrendering to Supreme Lord. Then we can say why we surrender to Supreme Lord can be causeless. Sometimes it can be. But then also it is said in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, what I'm not immediately recalling a shloka. I know that them the shlokas, but that like he continues his spiritual life from the past birth. So it has a cause. This life why is continuing because of past birth. But how he began this bhakti? Maybe initially by Ajna Sukruti. That can be causeless. Just like Srila Prabhupada when he was in 26 Second Avenue, one hippie, he came in a completely inebriated stage and he saw there are no tissue papers in the bathroom. And he went and brought those tissue paper roll and put it up. Prabhupada says he is doing Ajna Sukruti. Even in that stage, he is doing some seva. So, yeah, how it begins as a causeless mercy of devotees or Supreme Lord. And then that's the cause for further causeless mercy. Something at least I can relate to. Our spiritual life begins with a causeless mercy, just random. And still if we go deep, logical, if we go by the philosophical side, there has to be some cause. Why only that hippie entered that storefront? Why Krishna arranged only for him to enter the storefront? It might have some logical cause. Why he only entered? There are thousands of hippies. And why only when he entered that time only the toilet tissue paper was finished? So we have to find out a cause for that. So basically, what I summarized, the mercy has a cause, but it is still causeless, and it's beyond our capacity to understand. Probably it is right. Is it right? Maybe you can add on later on. So after, so yes, we'll move ahead from this causeless. We'll move ahead further. So before we go, I would like to take one or two examples of this causeless mercy with a cause. Of one, certainly yesterday was Ashadi Ekadashi. So I will like to narrate which many of you might know, but still, history of Pundarik, Bhaktaraj, Pundalik. And in his life we can see a causeless mercy. And then, okay, one incident which happened 10-15 years back of a causeless mercy. And another incident during Srila Prabhupada's time. So before we move on, we'll move to the past, many lakhs of years back, in the life of Bhaktaraj Pundalik. Pundalik. So he was a great devotee. Generally the Supreme Lord, devotees goes to meet Supreme Lord, but here the Supreme Lord came to meet the devotee Pundalik. So actually it's a big history, a big good story. How was such a devotee? What is his glories that the Supreme Lord came to meet him? Actually, long ago, many lakhs of years back, Pandharpur Kshetra is also called as Loha Danda Kshetra. I'm not going to that whole story, that how the Supreme Lord killed that demon Dindirvan. I'm not going to that story, but it is also called as Loha Danda Kshetra before the Supreme Lord came and started staying there. And a pious Brahman named as Janudev, along with his wife, were staying. The great devotees performing tapasya, worshipping the Lord through devotional service throughout the day. And a son was born to him, Janudev. But the son was a very horrible in character. Especially his speech was very harsh, misbehaved towards his parents, insulted the parents, and not at all interested in devotional life. So his parents were very pained to see the behavior of they were great devotees, wonderful gentlemen, and their son was, Prabhupada would call him, Prabhupada's language, not Prabhupada call him, rascal number one. In Prabhupada's language. So better they thought better that rather than staying with this son, it's better we die. We give up our life in some holy activity. So in that time, even in India, up till this railways and buses started 400 years back, 500 years back, at an elderly age, a person would take a trip to Kashi. That is in Maharashtra and southern part is famous. And it was expected that he would go and very few would return. They would be so old by that time. They would traveling, walking to Kashi, taking darshan, going to other holy places. Some of them would die on the way, going or coming. Some of them would just say that we'll stay here only till end. Very few would return. So they also thought, let's give up this son, give up all whatever home came to him, and we move on to Kashi. But still, as a loving parents, while moving on to Kashi, they asked their son, Chalo, you also come with us. And the son, as usual, neglected, instead, hey, you go, I'm not interested, etc., etc. So elderly parents slowly started walking towards Kashi. Then after that, few days, another group of people from that area was going to Kashi. So he asked, where are we going? He said, we are going to Kashi. So that time, he felt, oh, everyone is going to Kashi. Let me also go. So a young man, a rich man, so he took a horse, sat on the horse with his wife in front of him. And on the horse, he started going to Kashi. And soon, he caught up with very old, his parents were just walking with great trouble. But he did not pay attention to them, continued walking on his horse journey. And the parents were walking with great trouble. And he arrived at the ashram of one great sage called as Kukut Muni, along with his wife. And Kukut Muni was a great devotee. He was famous for treating all women as mother. He treated all living beings equally. And he was a great devotee performing bhajan and sadhana and dhyan whole day. He was pure and gentle in behavior. He was duty bound towards his parents. All these qualities. Expert in Vedas, truthful, ahimsa and tapasya. He was such an advanced person spiritually. Daily early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta time, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, all three rivers personified, who were very, when they came, they would appear very dirty, ugly. They would come daily morning, Brahma Muhurta time, clean his ashram. And by the process of cleaning ashram of Kukut Muni, they would get beautiful body regained and they would go back. So that day also, while this Pundalik was staying there, he saw. And okay, before that, before we move ahead in the story, as the Pundalik reached Kukut Muni ashram, he asked Kukut Muni, where is Kashi? Kukut Muni said, I have never been there, I don't know how far it is. So Pundalik, in ridiculing way, as his nature was, he started laughing. Hey, you don't know what is this. But still he stayed there. Kukut Muni did not mind the insult or ridicule. He humbly went into his ashram. So next day morning, to continue the story, when Pundalik saw them, he was amazed. He wanted to know who are these three ladies. He went to them, but three ladies neglected Pundalik. They did not pay attention. And he felt great remorse. He said, please, I know I am a, what do you call it? Fallen, ungentlemanly, atheistic or non-devotional person. But please be merciful to me. He is praying to Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. Please deliver me. He started praying sincerely. So Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati rose him up and said, you are very fortunate. By causeless mercy, you have got the association of a great devotee like Kukut Muni. So get up. Kukut Muni is very pure, pious, devoted Brahmin. He saw his parents' streets woman, as a mother, treats everyone equally. Hmm? He has he has not behaved harshly like you ever in life. Hmm? Ganga Yamuna Saraswati says, Supreme Lord is merciful to you. Hmm? They predict one day he will personally come to see you. And Pundalik understands his mistake. He becomes a great devotee of Supreme Lord and also carries on his responsibility to serve his parents who were coming from behind. They also by that time reached the ashram of Kukud Muni. He takes care of them. Hmm? So like that, so many people in this world take this story and say, see how a son should serve the parents. Yeah, certainly we should take care of the parents as a son. But we also see Loknath Maharaj, His Holiness Loknath Maharaj, whether his 75th appearance day was yesterday. He says that we should not only take one of the quality, we should see that Kukud Muni and Pundalik and their parents, they had wonderful so many qualities. First is they were all great devotees. They were not harsh, they are equal to everyone. Not only one thing they were serving care of. And the parents were also excellent devotees. Hmm? So someone says you should take care of parents because Pundalik did it. Yeah. But the parents were excellent devotees and all. So we have to, His Holiness Loknath Maharaj says we have to take everything. All the facts together. Anyway, let's move on to our topic of causeless mercy. So Pundalik reformed his life, went back again after Kashi to Lohadandak Kshetra. At that time it was not Pandharpur yet. And his parents became old, he was serving them. And that time, the Supreme Lord came to console Rukmini Devi. That's a different story why Rukmini Devi has come there. And after meeting Rukmini Devi, he came to meet Pundalik, who was taking care of, he was massaging the feet of parents at that time. So he threw a brick. I don't want to tell the whole story, I just want to take this causeless mercy aspect. But that brick was Indradev, who had appeared as a brick, because he wanted to get the dust of Supreme Lord, because he had killed Uttarasur. I'm not going everything in detail. But that brick, so he threw the brick. Indradev knew that this is going to happen. So Indradev had appeared as a brick in his home. So he gave the brick for the Lord who had come to stand. He served his parents, but then after their seva was over, he went on to serve the Supreme Lord. So not that he served only parents. He knew. So before we end this story of Pundalik and go on to the Bhagavatam verse of causeless mercy, we should, as Loknath, His Holiness Loknath Maharaj said, we should take the whole thing together. We should also learn the Supreme Lord offered Pundalik, please ask whatever you want. He was, read out the selfish list. Money, family, house, car, everything. What did Pundalik ask? He said, you are such a beautiful form. There is Marathi Abhanga, Rupa Pahata, Lochani, like that, something. You should always stay here in this beautiful, attractive form, in a smiling face. Lord agreed. Then he says, let all souls come here and by taking your darshan, get devotion. Lord agreed. Let this place be one of the best tirtha place. Lord agreed. Then he said, let all qualified or not qualified, whoever it may be, get your darshan in this place. So these are the blessings which Pundalik is asking. So he is such a wonderful devotee, selfless devotee, and also taking care of his parents. And let this dham be famous by my name. So in that way, it is also said, just like Ajamil, after that also Pundalik performed bhakti. Like Ajamil also got darshan of Vishnudutas. But if you know the story, he went to Haridwar and performed bhakti. So after that, Pundalik performed, because the second sentence is, we can get full mercy of Lord when we have faith in the Lord and spiritual master. So after this whole incident, Pundalik performed bhakti under the guidance of Brahmaji, who was his spiritual master. So this was, so that is the whole story. But we come back to another story. We see like our history during Srila Prabhupada's time of Jayananda Prabhu, not Jayananda Prabhu, Haigiyu Prabhu. If you know the history, he was coming from a background when Srila Prabhupada went to US with lot of addictions. But he was also very seriously interested in spiritual life. But it was very difficult for him to give up the addictions. At the same time, he did a lot of important service to Srila Prabhupada, like editing English and everything. But he would also sometimes be drawn up back to the habits of addiction. So it was like always few years here, few years in spiritual life. Then again, he could not control, so few years in addiction. But Srila Prabhupada declared that Haigiru Prabhu will go back to the spiritual world. Because once he has helplessly and offenselessly chanted the holy name of Supreme Lord in Vrindavan. So I would say this is like a causeless mercy. Externally, he was addicted to addictions and many other wrong things. But at the same time, he was performing spiritual life. He had done many important services to Srila Prabhupada. At the same time, he in like intermittent gaps, he helplessly continued with wrong habits also. But at the same time, he chanted once helplessly and offenselessly in Vrindavan Dham. So I would say this is like a good example of causeless mercy. We can't see some causeless at least in this life. Not causeless, cause in this life. There can be cause some in the past lives, but at least in this life we can't see any cause. So that is another, just moving ahead, and I would like to take some narration of Ramayana before we end, but also another incident. We have incidents of Pundalik, which was lakhs of years back. Then we heard about Haigiru Prabhu. And one story, a real story which happened maybe 10 years back approximately, which I might have spoken here before, of a person in some remote part of Maharashtra. And his father was a great devotee, but his son, maybe like Pundalik itself, was a very nonsense person. Because the current day scenario, around 10-15 years back, as he became young, that young blood in a village, he got involved in politics, local politics. And with the politics came some wrong businesses and wrong habits of drinking, prostitution, and other addictions. And in that way, the father he had some good business. I don't know exactly what. He stopped those business and opened a beer bar. He himself was addicted drinking. So his father was like, everything was too intolerable for the father, seeing his son getting degraded. And he was praying to the Supreme Lord that please guide my son properly. Ultimately, when the father was on his deathbed, the son at least came to meet him, not that much neglected the father. And the father, pleased, requested him, the son, you promise that you will read Bhagavad Gita at least once. Some other deathbed, father is requesting. He promised, I will read Bhagavad Gita once. And after some time, few days maybe, the father died. He did all these vidhis and everything. And after a few months, father is also not there. He was fully into his activities of beer bar, drinks, prostitution, politics, corruption, everything. But he recollected, I have promised to my father in his deathbed, I will read Bhagavad Gita once. He thought, at least for that I should fulfill my promise. So his father had a Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Srila Prabhupada's Gita in his home, in a cover like people keep it. To fulfill the promise, he took up that Bhagavad Gita as it is, opened it, and started reading. But he was continuing with his all other activities. And he was amazed. He could relate so much first chapter, Arjun is confused. Then I am not the body but the soul, second chapter. He got so enlivened, started reading, understanding. He thought I should share with someone. So he would take that Gita in his beer bar. And is actually, he told the story himself. He said, like, there is a round table in the bars. So he would sit on one chair with his leg on the tables. And certainly what was on the table, I won't tell. You all know. All those things that are available there on the table. And all his customers, he would put it around on the table. So all are drinking. Even the speaker is drinking and the audience is also drinking. In a beer bar. And he would give Bhagavad Gita class. He would hold one hand Bhagavad Gita, another hand the glass, and give class with a glass in the hand of, in Lord Chaitanya's language, Nityan Prabhu's language, bliss. Those who know the pastime. In the hand of with a glass, he would give a Bhagavad Gita class. And actually, it's a causeless mercy. They had many, every day or regularly they had a Bhagavad Gita class. He would read in the daytime, whatever he would understand from Bhagavad Gita as it is, evening class in his bar with all accompanying things. It happened for a few months, but then slowly, actually, he certainly changed his life totally after that. And many of his audience also changed his life, their lives. So I could say this is something like causeless mercy. Yeah, there was a cause that a father was a great devotee, but still, I don't know, many of us heard having a Bhagavad Gita class in the beer bar where the speaker and the audience have a glass of liquor in their hand. And the speaker is speaking and audience is listening. Anyway, certainly for sure the speaker changed his life completely. And like that. So basically, it's a causeless mercy. But there can be some causes. So I will just narrate one story of Ram, Sugriva, Hanumanji, and story every one of you know, almost everyone. But look at from one philosophical point of view at the story and end today's class. So we all know that Jiver Swarup Hoye Krishnera Nitya Das. We are eternal servants. Das, Dasanu Das. But I would today, in this last narration, would like to focus on one aspect or one quality which a servant or a Das should have. Servant can have or should have many qualities, but I am focusing on one of them today. So role of servant is to serve his spiritual master, not spiritual master, master, because servant can be of, like we are servant of so many devotees, not only spiritual master. So he should serve his master, and especially no human being can be perfect in this world. Only perfect person can be Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, sometimes the person, even our masters might be imperfect, or sometimes we might have the imperfect vision to notice their imperfection. But we see imperfection, whether they have or we have. The fact is we are noticing imperfection. I am not going to detail why the imperfection is pursued, because of the master's imperfection or because of the servant's imperfection. But the fact is imperfection is pursued. And we are seeing it can be because of any reason. So what the servant should do? Kali Yuga nature is to say, how can such a person be imperfect? How can, oh, my master is imperfect, and we may start some revolutions or some criticizing the master. But a real servant whose mood is Das, Dasanu Das, what he will do? He will try to cover up, in the sense, not hide the imperfections of the master, but he will do where the master is deficient, he will do that himself. Like for example, a master has a responsibility. And somewhere in that responsibility doing, like we can say our Prabhu, our in charge has a responsibility of, say, distributing prasad to 1,000 people. And he observes, oh, there is some deficiency happening here in that seva. So if you are in the servant mood, you should not say, hey, यहाँ पे ऐसे हो रहा है, इतना बड़ा line लग रहा है, अरे ऐसे वैसे जा रहा है. Generally, that is what the tendency we do. But a servant should raise up to the standard without telling, to make up for the, not cover up. Cover up can be a little understood wrongly. To make up for the master's deficiency rather than pointing out or discussing the deficiency. A very wonderful example is Ram Sugriv Milan at Rishyamukh Parvat. Almost all of us, or many of us, especially those in the Brahmacharya ashram and others also, might have visited this Rishyamukh Parvat, Kishkinda Kshetra, a very beautiful place even today. So there, I am telling of Ram Sugriv Milan. Ram and Lakshmana were coming as bowmen, and seeing them from the top of the mountain, all the Vanaras became, Vanaras not, Sugriv and his group became little disturbed because they thought these are Vali's men coming to kill me. Vali would always keep on trying some tricks. He could not personally enter that area. There's another story for why he could not. But he would send some men and like that. So they got afraid. Sugriv especially got afraid. So he had a minister, intelligent Hanumanji. He told Hanumanji, go and find out who are they, what are their motives, because Hanumanji was very expert in all those things. Hanumanji changed his form to a very scholarly Brahman, and chanting the shlokas, he went in front of Ram Lakshman and asked them, please introduce yourself. And a big story, how they told. Hanumanji could not recollect his own masters because Hanumanji has hidden his form. So Ramji did not hide his form, but still Hanuman could not recollect. When Hanumanji revealed that I am Hanuman, then he understood, oh, they are my Supreme Lord. So that's a different story. But anyway, so Hanuman was very happy to see that Ram, Lakshman, or Ram and Sugriv's friendship would be perfect. They are in a similar situation. Both wives have been kidnapped. So their friendship will be mutually helpful. So immediately Hanumanji made Ram, Lakshman sit on those shoulders and jumped directly in for presence of Sugriv. And there, Sugriv spoke that since our woes, problems are the same, now we become the friends. And there's a big narration how they clapped the hand. Hanumanji as a servant immediately lit a fire. And before that, what happened? Okay, just 1 minute. Because I want to discuss it from the point of view of Hanumanji's sevak mood. And what one angle is to make up for the deficiencies of the master. His master, Hanuman's master was Sugriv. So at that time, when the friendship was done, Sugriv immediately broke a branch of a big sal tree with lot of leaves and gave it to, put it down and offered Ram to sit. And he also sat on another branch. But Sugriv did a mistake of not giving a place for Lakshman to sit, who is original spiritual master. But Hanumanji, he was just 1 minute. Hanumanji understood and he immediately broke a branch and gave it to Lakshman to sit. But still Sugriv's mistake was there. He did not respect Lakshmanji. Actually for that, it is said by our Acharyas, for that he had to suffer in the form of getting beaten by Vali in the first attempt. Because he disrespected original Guru. But anyway, so Hanumanji saw that Sugriv was committing a mistake by not respecting Lakshman. So he did not say, hey, what is this happening? He himself took up, he rose to the event. He broke a branch and gave it for Lakshman, because it was very odd. Ram and Sugriva are sitting and Lakshman is standing. So he gave a branch. He corrected the situation. Hmm. And then some things happen, and the story goes on. The Sugriva shows the ornaments. I don't want to go into that detail. And then they decide that Sugriva will be sent to fight. And Sugriva goes, and Ram would be standing behind a tree and killing Wali. So it goes on to fight, and a big fight happens, And first time Ram did not kill because Sugriva and Wali were looking so similar. Sugriva is thoroughly injured. Somehow or other, he was waiting for Ram to kill. But he gets so much injured that he says, no, if I stay here, I will be killed. So he somehow or other escapes from Wali and runs back to Rishimukparu. Wali runs behind him, but once that limit crossed, he didn't. He goes back. Ram, Lakshman, Hanumanji walks behind. When Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman appear, Sugriva was like totally angry. Why did you send if you don't want to do and everything? Blah, blah. Why you did not kill him? So Ram explained, two of you are fighting so intensely, I could not, he told the reason, I could not identify. If by mistake I might have killed Sugriva yourself, then a great adharma would have happened. So Ram placed his hands on Sugriva's body, and Sugriva was immediately cured of all the injuries. And he said, no, you go again, but you wear a pushpa mala. Immediately Hanumanji made up a mala, and Hanumanji purposefully gave that mala to Lakshman to put it around the neck of Sugriva. Why? Because when the mala has to be put, Sugriva has to go down like this to Lakshmanji. So Hanuman gave that mala to Lakshman, and Sugriva bowed down, and Lakshman put the mala around Sugriva's neck. Because Hanumanji knew the offense has happened. And for the offense to be clear, he has to show the respect to the person who has been offended. So in that way, see, Hanumanji did not point out the mistakes, but he took care of the mistakes of his master in a very intelligent way. So masters, as I say, only the Supreme Lord can be perfect. So masters in this world, our masters, may not be, or mostly we'll see the imperfections. But when we see the imperfection, either because of our fault or actually master's fault, in either case, we have to focus on how as a servant can raise himself to take care that the mistakes are not performed or mistakes are taken care of. And Hanumanji is a wonderful example in this case. So that such attitude can give us causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. So it's time. I end here. Thanks everyone for listening very attentively. Srila Prabhupada ki. If anyone has any questions, they can meet me personally. आपसे एक करेक्शन पूछना नहीं क्या? सॉरी, गलत बोला तो बता दो.